So, greeting everyone. The title of our project is Let's Blog. It's a SaaS-based blogging website. Let us begin. I'm Shivan Jain, and my other team members are.
Hello, I am Anshul Sharma.
I am Mohammad Aim Khan.
I am Harshit Gupta.
So, let's begin. So, what is the project Let's Blog all about? Let's Blog is a containers as a service-based blogging website. It allows users to publish their blogs and read blogs posted by other users. Further, it also provides the facility of account creation, options to log in, sign up, and creation of user profiles. The objective of this project is to bring to its users a collection of blogs, news, and articles which are shared by individuals using this blog site. It involves the usage of various cloud technologies and using containers on cloud. The website is built using Django as backend, containerized on Docker, and hosted on AWS EC2 instance to provide SaaS. So overall, this is a learning endeavor to acquaint us with an application of present-day cloud technologies. So let's get started. What is SaaS? Containers as a service, or what we call as SaaS, is a cloud-based service that allows software developers and IT departments to upload, organize, run, scale, and manage containers by using container-based virtualization. Containers are OS-level virtualization to deliver software in packages. Containers are isolated from one another, and they bundle their own softwares, libraries, and configuration files. SaaS is essentially automated hosting and deployment of containerized software packages. Without SaaS, software development teams will have to deploy, manage, and monitor the underlying infrastructure that containers run on. So that's why we use SaaS. So now, having understood SaaS, now let's look into the architecture and technologies used.
Now, we will be discussing various technologies and architectures that we use to build our application. So, Let's Blog app is a SaaS-based blogging website and it comes under the domain of cloud. The website is containerized on Docker and hosted on AWS EC2 instance to provide container as a service. Amazon S3 has been used for file storage. For the development of the website, we have used HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for front-end and Django with PostgreSQL for backend. So moving to Docker for container. So a container is a standard unit of software that packages up code and all its dependencies so the application runs quickly and reliably from one computing environment to another. A Docker container image is a lightweight, standalone, executable package of software that includes everything needed to run an application: code, runtime, system tools, system libraries, and settings. We use Alpine image in our product as it's a nice lightweight image which can be used as a base for tons of applications. So moving to the next slide. So here are the two files required for containerization. The first one is Docker file. So we use Python 3.9 Alpine image, which is a lightweight base image for running Python apps. Added a maintainer label, set Python buffer to 1 so that Python outputs are sent straight to the container logs. Copies the required file to the image, sets app as our working directory when running commands from the Docker image. Exposes port 8000, which we will be used for local development. A run line to install the required dependencies, a new user called app that will be used to run our app, environment to the path, sets the image user to app, then run the run.sh script. Coming to Docker Compose, in the Docker Compose file, we add different services and configure their settings, and environment variable along with their dependencies and volumes. Moving to next technology used.
Amazon S3. Amazon Simple Storage Service is an object storage service that offers industry-leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance. Customers of all sizes and industries can use Amazon S3 to store and protect any amount of data for a range of use cases, such as data lakes, websites, mobile application, backup and restore, archive, enterprise application, IoT devices, and big data analytics. Amazon S3 provides management features so that you can optimize, organize, and configure access to your data to meet your specific business, organizational, and compliance requirements. For integrating Amazon S3, first we have to create a S3 bucket on AWS. From there, we will get the unique key ID and access key, which we will save in our code as a variable called AWS access key ID and AWS secret access key. Now we have to configure the Django setting.py file to change our media storage to S3 bucket as shown in the given picture. Django uses Boto3 as a default file storage to communicate with Amazon S3. Moving to next slide. Moving to next slide.
So Amazon EC2 is used for hosting websites. Amazon's Elastic Cloud Compute or EC2 is a web service that provides secure, resizable compute capacity in the cloud. It is designed to make web scale cloud computing easier for developers. Amazon's EC2 is a simple web service interface that allows us to obtain and configure capacity with minimal friction. It provides us with complete control of the computing resources and lets us run on Amazon's proven computing environment. Amazon EC2 offers the broadest and deepest compute platform with a choice of processor, storage, networking, operating system, and purchase model. So we also created an EC2 instance and pushed our code from GitHub to that instance. Then we launched the server using using Docker Compose deploy.yml file. Next,
So we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as our front end. So HTML provides the basic structure of sites, which is enhanced and modified by other technologies like CSS and JavaScript. CSS is used to control presentation, formatting, and layout. JavaScript is used to control the behavior of different elements. Moving to next slide.
Django is a high level Python based framework that encourages rapid development and clean, pragmatic design. It is built by experienced developers and takes much care of the hassle of web development, so one can focus on writing apps without needing to reinvent the wheel. It is a free and open source product, and hence we use Django for a backend framework. Next, we have PostgreSQL.
So PostgreSQL data, we have used PostgreSQL for database. So PostgreSQL is a powerful open source object relational database system with over 30 years of active development that has earned it a strong reputation for reliability, feature robustness, and performance. Postgres allows us to store large and sophisticated data safely. It also helps developers to build the most complex of the applications, run administrative tasks, and create integral environments. In our project, we have mainly used two models. The first one being Post, which stores all the data related to the blogs, and it has four fields, namely the title, the content, the date posted, and the author of the blog. The code can be seen in the picture below. So the next model that we used is of Profile, which stores the user information along with its profile picture. It has two fields, the user and the profile image. So in case the user does not upload any profile picture, then a default picture is assigned to the user. The below picture shows the code for the same. So now, having talked about the technologies, we move on to the use cases and the features of a website.
So Let's Block app will give a platform to its user wherein one can post their thoughts, ideas, and creations, etc. in the form of blogs, and other readers or users of the website will be able to read it. Let's understand each of the use cases for the website in detail below. Moving on to the first use case, that is account creation and login facility. To start using the website, a user first needs to create an account. An existing user can directly log in, but a new user will have to register first to create and view blogs. However, user can read blogs without authentication. Here we use Django's inbuilt authentication system. The Django authentication system handles both authentication and authorization. Briefly, authentication verifies the user who they claim to be, and authorization determines what an authenticated user is allowed to do. We authorize only the users who created the post to edit or delete them. Moving to next use case.
So the next use case is profile creation and updation. Profile is an important aspect in terms of a blogging website as it provides an identity to the user. This is an essential functional requirement of the site. This allows the user to be identifiable when publishing blogs on the site. Thus, an account has to be created with an associated profile. Once an account has been created, then the user can access other features uh, and also can update their profile by clicking on the home page. There, they can get the opportunity to change their username, edit the email address attached, and also upload a profile picture of their choice. So we did this with a model named profile on the Amazon S3 bucket, where we have stored the images for each of the user to associate with the profiles. The next use case is password reset using email.
The next use case of this project is resetting password using the link received as a registered email of the user. The password reset option is an important feature for any website. Since our website asks users to create their account, there will be many instances where the user might forget his or her login credentials. If so, users will lose or access to his or her account, along with the blogs and posts of that user. So giving the password reset option to the user becomes all or more important. So we have used Django's authentication system, which verify the user and to extract his or her email ID and configure Gmail service to send the reset password mail. Moving to the next use case.
So the next use case is to create, read, update, or delete blog posts. So this use case covers the major objective of this website, that is to create blogs and post them and update or delete them if the need be. So a user can create the blog and post it for all other website users to read it. So for this purpose, we have created a model named post, which we discussed earlier. So it stores the title, content, and date posted, and also contains the author of the post. So this model is used to create, update, and delete the blogs. So this was the use case to create and update blogs. Moving on to the next use case.
So pagination, the process of splitting the contents of a website or a section of contents from a website into discrete pages is called pagination. It makes it easier for the user to choose the page that they want to view. For example, we use the paginator class provided by Django and the methods provided by it for creating the pagination bar. In our website, all the blog posts are sorted according to the post time. All the posts are further divided into different pages, and a single page will only contain a handful of the blogs. This provides an easier navigation to the user, and hence they can easily find the blog post that they want to read. The next use case is author-based blog filters.
The, the next use case of this project is filtering the post based on the author. Author-based filter for the blog help in filtering of the blogs and shows only the blogs posted by the particular author. So if any reader wants to read a particular blog and would like to explore more posts by the same author, he or she can easily do so by just clicking on the name of the author in that post. This will lead to the user to the new page that contains all the blogs by that particular author. For this, we have used the filter method to filter the post with the given author's name. Now we will see the demo of how the user can use our blog site.
So this is the website that we have built. Let's begin with its demo.
Okay, as soon as we open the website, we land on homepage and can see the post. But to create our own post, we need to log in. If we don't have an account, we need to register. To register, click on the register button on the upper right corner. So to create a new account, the user is asked to create a unique username for itself. Then enter the email address and then choose a password satisfying the mentioned conditions. And then click on the sign up button. Before creating the account, the website will check whether your username is unique or not, whether the password fulfills the required condition or not, and then only the account is created. Post account creation, the user will be directed to the login screen to sign into the account. So to log in, a user simply need to enter his username and password, and thereby can get access to the website through his account. If by mistake the user forgets the password, she can use the forget password option.
Now we will see how user can change the password for his or her account. The user can choose to reset his or her account by clicking the Forget Password button. To reset the password, as a user clicks on the Forget Password button, the user is redirected to a page requesting submission of associated email ID. Now, then a password reset link is sent to the entered email address. As we can see that we have received the link, which will be now on clicking the link, the user is redirected to the page where they can set a new password for their account. On arriving the following page, enter the new password of the choice, which meets the requirement, and user credentials shall be updated accordingly. Now we will see how user can update his profile.
Mm, So once the account has been created, then we have to log in. And upon login, when we visit the home page, there we can see the profile tab on the top right corner. On clicking on the profile tab, we get the following options: to change the username, to change the associated email ID, and upload a profile pic of our choice. On doing so, we can update we can click on the update button to update the details. And once this is done, the details will be reflected on all the posts that the user creates further. Next, we have the pass. Next, we have the create, read, update, and delete post use case scenario.
So how do we create a new post? We simply click on the new post button on the top right corner of the website. So here we land on a page where we are asked to enter the title and the content of the blog. So once we are done with the content, we click on the post button, and the here a draft of our blog will be shown, and we click on the home page, and here we can see our blog. We just posted it. So apart from posting it, there is also a facility to update or delete the blog content. So we simply need to click on the respective blog that we need to update, click on the update button, change the content, again post it. And once we visit the home page, we can see that the updated content has been posted. Now how to delete? We again click on the same blog, we click on the delete option, follow the on-screen instructions, and as a result, the blog has been deleted. Now we move on to the next use case.
So the next use case is a simple one. It allows for pagination. As we can see on going to the bottom of the website, there is a navigation bar present. So this allows the user to navigate to different blogs which have been posted earlier. This frees the user of the hassle to scroll throughout the website to find the particular post that they want to read. Next, we have post filters based on the author.
Now, to filter the blog on the basis of the authors, user can click on the author's name, which is present at the top of the blog. Now we will see all the posts that are posted by that user. The user can scroll through the blog post of that author and can read whatever he or she likes. The page will also contain only a small card of a particular blog, which contains the title and brief information about the blog. To read the complete blog, user just need to click on that particular post and can enjoy reading the entire blog.
So this was the complete website that we have built, a SaaS-based website for blogging. Here are the few references that we took help from. That's it from our side. Thank you very much.